Hey everyone, this is Dr. White. I got a request from another teacher to make this video. This is going to be for lesson 1 homework and the sketch 4 as part of that homework, and it is the wrench. I hesitated making this video because I usually give this as an assessment, but it was a special request, so I will create it. I will make some notes here that I'm going to create my reference lines first. So I have this horizontal reference line, I have this diagonal reference line here, I have another diagonal reference line here. And also we have some crescents in our wrench. Well, before I get to that, these reference lines are 17 degrees from my horizontal. Again, this one is 17 degrees from my horizontal. You will see that we have these outer circles here, this other outer circle here. This one is also a circle, and I'll show you all what I do with that. Uh, with this circle also. And notice that these two circles do not have the same center points. And these two circles do not have the same center points. And you can see that this says R13 times 4 here. So that means that this fillet right here will have a radius of 13, and I'm going to have that in 4 places here, 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 and here. So there are some students that sometimes have a tough time with this, but it doesn't have to be hard as long as you have a good plan of attack. So I'm going to go through this. And I am starting with a sketch on my front plane. New sketch. Let's go ahead and view normal. This is also in millimeters. And we know that it's in millimeters because of the large numbers. So I'm going to make my reference lines. So I have my horizontal. I have a reference line coming here. And where's my other reference line? I have another reference line somewhere around here. I am also going to put in a vertical reference line, and that's so that I can give this line some symmetry. So I'm going to make those 2 points symmetric. And then let's go ahead and do some dimensions. So from this point to that point, it should be 110 millimeters. And remember how we put in that angle, we have to choose 2 lines, make sure you're not choosing points. And then that will give you that angle. And I also want that one and that one to be 17 degrees as well. Let's see, what else do we need to put in? I think I'm going to put in these circles, my outer circles, and then my inner circles, and then I will dimension those. So let's start with my outer circles, which are going to be coincident to the points on my horizontal reference line. Let's get those dimensions. We have 32, and this one's going to be 29. So 32 for that one, and 29 for that one. Um, let's see. I want my other center point for this circle to be at the end of that point right there. And so my 2 center points should be 7 millimeters away from each other. Okay, so let's see how that's going to look. I'm going to make those 2 points 7 millimeters, and then I'm going to put a circle right there. So let's do my circle first. And that is going to be a diameter of 26. And I'm going to grab that point and that point. And make sure that when you put in your dimensions that you are not dragging down. You want to drag at that angle right there. And that should be 7. And let's see, what else do I want? I think I want that line and that point to be coincident. And now everything is black. I will do the same thing over here. So here my circle is going upward, and this one is going to have a diameter of 18 millimeters. So I'm going to put that circle right here at the end of that point, and notice that those 2 points are not coincident. It's all right. I could just grab them, make them coincident, and then I'm going to dimension that. I think we said 18. Let's verify that. Yep, 18. And then those 2 center points will have a dimension of 7 millimeters between them. The other thing that I want to do is I want that point and that point. I believe that those 2 should be coincident. We'll see. And let's dimension between those 2 points. And remember, we're not dragging down. We are going at an angle. And everything should be black at this point. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our lines. I'm going to make a line here. And I am going to make sure that that line and my horizontal reference are parallel to each other. And I can either draw another line here or I can mirror this. And the reason I'm going to mirror this is because I know that the line should be symmetric. So let's grab the mirror tool. It's asking me which line I want to be my mirror. And I'm going to make sure that it is my horizontal reference. And the entity that needs to be mirrored will be that line. Okay, and we also know that those 2 lines should be 11 millimeters away from each other. And again, make sure everything is black. Notice that those points are coincident with that circle. We can either make these coincident with the circle or we can just remove what we don't need. I'll just make it coincident. Let's see, what else do we need? I think I'm going to put in my fillets next. So you can either make a fillet or you can make a 3-point arc. I will show you how to do both. I'll attempt to show you how to do both. So if I grab my fillet tool, it says I can't add a fillet there, so it looks like I will have to create a 3-point arc. So here's my arc tool. Make sure that it is the 3-point arc. You may have to go into the drop-down menu to find it. So we are going to select the circle, select the line, and okay, 3-point arc, select the circle, select the line, and we want to come inward towards that circle. Make sure that you're not selecting another point. All right, we just want that slight bend. And that's going to have a radius of 13. So when we dimension that, this gives us a radius for our fillets or for our arcs. And for our circles, we get the diameter. So that's going to be 13. And notice that it is not tangent. It should be according to this. So we're going to select that arc. We're going to make it tangent to that circle first. And then select the arc again, make it tangent to that line. And we see that everything is black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror that. Okay, and in the comments, I want you all to tell me whether or not you think I should mirror these two arcs across that horizontal reference. And to help you with your answer, I want you to look at my vertical reference, and I want you to look at the diameter of those circles. Okay, but for now, let's see what happens if I just create another arc. Okay, and I'm going to mirror this one. And you all know that I do not like a whole bunch of stuff on my sketches, so I'm not going to add dimensions when I don't need them. Remember, the instructions said that we needed the same dimension in 4 places, so all we need to do is make those equal to the arc that I already have. And we also want to make sure that those are going to be tangent. And once I made one tangent, the other one already appeared. So we need to make our crescent here and here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sketch those lines out. Sketch those lines out. And what I can do is just sketch one line here and one line here, and then I can mirror that. And then I will dimension those. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's see what happens. All right, let's make sure that those lines are parallel. They should all be parallel because that angle is the same. Oh, we don't like that. So, oh, we should not see red. So let's undo that. And let me see if I can just make that one parallel first. Okay. And then I will make that parallel. And let's go ahead and make a mirror of those lines. Dimension those, we have 17 and 13. Okay, so at this point, everything should be black. Let's just remove those things that we don't need. Using our trim tool, I know that I don't need those extra points. Let's see, what else do we not need? We don't need that there. Starting to look like a wrench. Okay, so in the comments, tell me why you all think that that turned blue. And not to fret, oh, you know what? We don't need this extra part of that line right there. We don't need the inside of that. Let's see, what else do we not need? We don't need that. And in the sketch that we were given, This part of the circle was left, and what I typically do is I make a symmetric extrusion. And when you see a double-sided wrench like this, because they are different dimensions here, I'm going to delete those also. Because they are different dimensions here, they typically have a different depth. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this black by let me just put in another dimension. Okay, and nope, I don't like that. Yeah, that's 26. That should be correct. All right, so actually I don't need to do that. I want to make that point. Let me show you all. This is the center point for that arc right there. And that's supposed to be the center point. Remember, I had those aligned. I'm going to choose those 2 points, make them coincident. And that should be black. Let's see what's happening. I'm not sure why it's not. Let me see what that's coincident with. That should be, so it's asking me for a radius. The reason it's asking me for a radius is because it recognizes this as an arc only and not a circle. And remember that the radius is half of the diameter. So since my diameter is 26 right there, I know that my radius is going to be half of that, which is 13. All right, so at this point, everything should be black. Let me go in and clean some of this up. It looks like I have some other stuff that I don't need. No, I think I needed that part. I don't need, there's something I don't need right there. Let me see. I don't need that. So, and here I lost that again. So I'm going to go in and put that in. It should recognize it. It says 9 millimeters. Let me make sure that that point and that point are coincident and everything should be black. So what I'm going to do, let me zoom to fit, and I'm going to extrude the middle portion first. I will put this in isometric view and extrude. I'm going to extrude this to 7 millimeters. And I'm going to make sure that it's symmetric. And then if I view my sketch again, I can make sure that both of those are extruded at the same time. So look what happens if I don't make that symmetric. So if I want these extruded to 10 millimeters, then it's only going to be extruded to one side. And you can see what happens when I do that. So just like the center, I want to make sure that that is symmetric as well. And even though this was not required, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign a material. And this is just in case you are following along with me. One of the ways that we make sure that we have the correct answer is that we assign the material. And in this case, I'm going to assign aluminum 1060. And then we want to check our mass. So down here in this lower right-hand corner, you can see the scale. And if you hover, it says display mass and section properties. And here our mass, if we did everything the same way, we should have the same mass, the same volume and surface area. You can look at the mass moments of inertia and the center of mass. Everything should be the same. Again, put in the comments if you have the same mass as me and congratulate yourself. And that is it. If there are any questions about anything, please let me know. Before I go, one thing that I want to do is show my dimensions because this is something that I typically have my students do. One of the reasons is because I want to make sure that everything is black. So the students will have to not only show their mass properties, but they will have to show their dimensions as well. So show dimensions, and I want to show my mass. Why is that not showing? All right, my mass, and then show dimensions. So if everything was not black, then we'd probably have some concerns. And since everything is black and our mass is showing properly, then this would get a score of 100%. Again, please let me know if there are any questions, concerns, or any special requests for any additional videos. Thank you all so much, and I will stop the video.